to save the campaign server. So the
Yes,
little
it
notations
went
that you
very
put on
strange.
the world map correspondingly vanished.
If the lordmen are coming mainly from the north, supposedly, I want to start putting spies along the taverns and roadhouses and outhouses and dog houses all around the northern area, because I want to keep eyes on them and I want to start tracking their movements. See where they enter our lands, where they exit our lands, and try to basically zone them in. If I can start isolating hidey holes, supply depots, and other things like that.
Sounds like a knowledge streetwise that would be needed for to sort of handle that sort of thing.
Sure.
Do you have any street cred?
I do.
What?
The end goal here being stopping the loremen, or
Yes. I want to go by tracking their movements and tracking their finances. I want to find out where they are, what they're hiding, so we can strike at them. I also want, of course, to find out who's actually sponsoring them. With all of this shit. And maybe, where's my token? It's not in the council. Oh, there it is. Because if they're being sponsored, then it is most likely another house or another organization doing it, and that costs money. It costs resources, swords, armor, stuff like that doesn't just pop up. It needs to come from somewhere, and that leaves possible trails in surrounding houses. And if I have spies in those places, maybe I can learn little things like, oh yes, Lord so-and-so gave 10 swords away to these people. That's kind of strange. Things like that. I want to track their finances and their supply lines. Map them out.
roll the knowledge check. See how well you
Let me open my character sheet here.
manage to position these people. How well you understand the mind of a lowly criminal.
Let's see how I do.
These lawless ducks.
And I do get a bonus from my network in this area, I do believe.
Yeah, sure. It's all knowledge checks, I believe, in Marshall.
And it was a... Bring up the thing here.
I'll provide that for him. Connections gives you a die, a test die.
Right.
All knowledge checks made about your chosen location, which is the marshes. So
That is incredibly average. Look at that.
well, it's always nice when they hit directly on those magic numbers.
That's right. That's right. 16 is a good
You will learn quite a bit from your dealings with them in the coming days. Mainly that your people say that Lord Ashford is very angry with the people of these respite people who can't handle their bandits because they keep they have stolen from him 3 weapon shipments. He ordered one, they stole that one. He got 2 more, then they stole those ones too. His guards have been incompetent, and they are just saying that it's mismatched orders and something's suddenly going on, but that is probably where the weapons came from. Ashford land somehow. The Lord is pretty pissed about it, though. Also seems that indeed people have been walking from Selmy lands where they're tough on crime to join the Lone Men, and because it's going pretty well here. The lords have been like in Dorne and Highgarden. They're gone all the time. There are fat pickings and weapons to be had. Perhaps, yeah.
In that case, perhaps Lord Ashford would be willing of a sort of a joint venture to try to nip this in the bud. Because as much problem as he's having, we are having even worse problems. And together, we might be able to cull this.
It seems right now he is still looking for whoever burned down his plantation.
Well, it's the Lornmen, obviously.
Perhaps it is them. If so, then you might be liable for damages because they're your people coming in here to,
we'll see you in court,
to deal with those things.
We'll see you in court in that case.
No, we will.
You can ask ask Lord Baratheon.
His son has told him all about what your family does.
Well, I mean, it was
your young heir has been to.
It was an olive branch to try to solve a problem for both of us. But he is going to be an obtuse asshole about it,
Well, if you can't handle bandits yourself, then
I'm trying to handle the
clearly
bandits,
they're just
but
trying to ask him to deal with it for you.
I mean,
If
do
his
you want
lordship of
this to be
Caladan would
handled?
come visit him and ask him personally, then maybe.
You know, if he wants again to be an obtuse asshole and don't want to help his own damn problems, then I guess we won't. It was just a suggestion to help each other out.
He is actually known a bit for being. Well, he's a young lord, and he feels pretty great about himself. He doesn't have a great reputation as a warrior or a knight, but to him he does. He doesn't really appreciate this old man who clearly doesn't know what he's doing.
All right, well,
Maybe he should retire.
why don't the Lord come over here and say that in person? Let's see how that goes.
Well, your land is clearly plagued with bandits everywhere. So.
Oh, you're a coward. I see how it is.
There's a flame war. Flying back and forth.
This flame war goes on. No, it doesn't feel
I'm a
pretty
Navy
good.
SEAL. I have 32 confirmed kills. And
That doesn't feels pretty good about this flame war has going
my
on.
niece could beat you up.
Oh boy, my niece.
Wow.
Let me tell you about my niece.
Regardless, that's a bit of confirmed information. You're pretty sure that that's how things work at the moment. So, Linus, is there anything special you want to do with your time? And same for Alaric, really. Anything particular you want to try to figure out or do or
Of course, Lane.
wife is gone, so.
Of course, Lane spent some time training his fighting with Sir Alaric, because Sir Alaric does indeed have a higher fighting than him.
Yeah, he does.
So,
He does, yes, you can train with Sir Alaric.
which took me a week, which would still give me.
You have plenty of time. And
Yeah.
even if the others come back in like a few months, then you still have plenty of time.
Yeah.
So it's just you have a long downtime. Do you want to do something special with it that you couldn't otherwise do? Because here we can fast forward and be like, well, how did it go?
Well, one of the things Lanus would want to do, because unlike some nobility, he does see the small folk can be also be important. Winter doesn't normally affect this area too badly, but still, kind of making sure the small folk will be small will be better, especially with what's been happening in the Lawman recently. Trying to kind of ensure we have the loyalty of the small folk, no matter what happens.
How so?
Kind of going out to them. The castle probably has quite a bit of leftover food, which would normally that would go to waste. A bit of charity work, and also kind of almost as a secondary thing. The castle needs more soldiers.
He'll recruit from the local populace. Sure. Does he go alone?
Would he go alone doing all this?
Yeah. Out for the land.
I imagine he might have a guard or two by him, a few guards at his side, but not bringing like a whole contingency.
No, he's not concerned with.
If you get kidnapped by the Lordman, I will kill you.
What, would you insist I bring Sir Alaric with me?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Well, is Sir Alaric planning to do anything?
No.
Apart from training,
No, he's
really.
not. He's going with you. If you're going out, he's going with you. That's just.
Very well. Apparently I have Sir Alaric the Giant helping me with charity work.
Petting the kids.
He doesn't
he's
like
helping
being
too?
called the giant, though.
Carrying trunks off of the road and stuff like that.
Well,
Well, it certainly
Alaric
goes much easier with him there too, and the people do appreciate it, saying that their lord cares enough to help them down in the dirt, and get his hands dirtier to help peasants. That is an uncommon thing. These peasants feel like they matter.
Friend of the small folk added.
That is the most terrifying thing. The peasants feel like they matter. That is.
That is so false, but that's got.
This is your fault. When the peasants say, "Oh, you what, you lord? We think we matter now, so we voted in a new lord, yeah." That will be on your
vote for
hand.
him.
Or just syndicalistic commune now.
Well, if that situation comes up, my virtue bit me in the butt.
You could roll a persuasion charm for me.
Sure, I can roll a persuasion charm.
You're
Can I
pretty.
do persuasion seduce?
You can do athletics if you want.
Seduce.
You
Athletics,
can do that, but that's not going to win the goodwill of the farmers.
athletics
Say that,
what,
but-
though?
Sure, 1 second. Okay, that's not bad.
I have bonus dice in athletics, so athletics what?
You can do strength if you want. Like,
Sure.
Actually, I will go ahead then. I'm going to use my lucky trait and get a reroll and see if I can get a better result. Because I'm allowed to take the better of the 2 results.
Sure.
So might as well. Okay, no, I'm going definitely the first one.
You're not lucky enough to find amiable peasants who really need your help with whatever it is that they do. All right, well, that
do get 15.
generally goes well. You help a lot of small folk, and they appreciate it. And you get pats on the back, and they, they even overlook that you married a Dornish woman. She's gone anyway half the time.
There we go. Our reputation's intact.
So, hopping back to the Deepwell Keep or Deepwell Ruin, as some would say. Certainly, it is a ruined keep, not a watchtower, not a castle either, but has enough rooms to be counted as such. What do you do? You have an unconscious, well, whoever he is.
There was a third archer, but I think he has taken his chances. I think he had an inkling of what transpired here.
Smart. Did you at least get the water?
Bree blinks. Excuse me, Nima. You'll recall that you were next to the well, and we were up here dealing with this.
Well, yeah, but I weren't invited to food and water.
There's certainly no food here either, and you're the one who had all of the water. Look. Reasonable expectations here, Nima. Bree smiles.
Right. Well,
So we give him to the locals? Perhaps?
I think so. I think that was my idea. I don't feel like carting him back, and if the locals are so, she snorts, stupid enough to allow him to continue to lord over them, then,
they
well.
deserve him. Until we come back, I suppose.
As for this here, Bree looks around. Well, it's not much, and whatever strategic value it may have had, I would think is gone due to the peace between Dorne and the rest of Westeros.
Well, he
Shrugs. It would perhaps be
does.
advantageous not to have bandits hold it again.
Well, and he does have metal to mine.
What metal did you see down there? He talked about treasure, but you're the only one who looked down the hole.
What did it look like, Malachi?
You have as much information as I told you.
Oh, right. What about the color, at least?
It seemed to be a metallic golden sheen.
Looked like gold, but could be fooled by me. I don't know much
Bree.
about
Bree blinks.
metals.
Well, if it is a metal of value, that could certainly justify having something all the way out here. We'll let Uncle know. And, well, although he's not the Lord, I suppose he's the one who would know the most about these sorts of things.
Said Shrugs. It's generally too far away to do much with. Perhaps Shrugs, a loyal retainer, some men, if it could prepare, it could work as a stationary post out here, I suppose. It is not uncommon for someone who, well, a lord who might try to establish a new outpost in this region to put it in the hands of a lesser retainer as a chance for him to perhaps build something for himself.
Bree, has such a cruel smile on her face right now. And then she says, "Oh, that would be... Oh, I could not recommend that the newlywed couple prove them... Oh, no!
Said Shrugs slightly and gives a mischievous smile. Says, it would technically be an honor. Though
Oh,
she looks around, maybe aiding them a bit in setting up the place would be... It seems like it would take a long time to get anything done if you just, well, looks at the knocked out man.
Bree says, "This almost seems like a punishment post, but if nobility would regard it an honor, then, well, we can leave that for for Lanny and Uncle to decide.
Totally. I'm certainly glad that my husband already has a claim.
That he does. Anyway, let's, I can cart him off to the locals if, Nima, if you'll begin, and perhaps you too, Rosette, replenishing our water store so that we can make our way back home. It's been an entire moon. I hope it doesn't take that long to get back.
That should be faster. We know the way a little more. She'll Bree not saying anything. Bree will be fine. She'll go and say, Nima, could you do the water? Can't. It's really not that easy to reach. Well, go see if I can find this mutton they were talking about. She does a scowl. She says,
You're muted, Tina.
Nima goes to fetch some water.
Okay.
There's the water skins, the saddlebags, swine bladders.
Bree's got some strong to her. She'll shoulder old man Trevan here and cart him out to yonder goats and locals.
Sure. They stop at sort of a distance. There seem to be actually as she walks in, it looks like it's a few families, certainly more people than live around Respite in the immediate area.
Bree will.
So, yeah, it's a hamlet, in fact,
Okay.
of these herdsmen who have lived around this place. And as she goes, she also seems to be a slightly irrigated sort of a terrace farm down a steep slope, where a few people are tending to some plants that seem to be sort of a tall yellow wheat plant of some sort.
Bree, with she's not really much one for niceties, will walk to the center of the hamlet and with a heave, sort of like chuck the old man off her shoulder and onto the ground.
The people there look at her, stunned in whatever business they were doing. One says,
Bree's eyes move to the stammerer.
She looks and says, what's going on?
Bree says,
Be a bit afraid of the whole thing.
the tyrant who thought himself king of Westeros was most unduly rude to myself and my traveling companions, and House Caladan and House Byronwood will not tolerate such atrocities. So, in an offer of generosity, I have deposed your tyrant. His little minions are gone now, leaving only him. I haven't killed him. I've decided that I would leave it up to you who live here to determine what happens to him. I don't live here.
A few of them look upon one another, and just one of them says, You killed the sheriff and the guards?
Sure did. Bree smiles.
Look at one another in disbelief and probably
If-
splatter blood on her.
If any of you, and she begins to twist her body into a fighting stance, would like personal evidence.
They sort of step back, clearly intimidated and confused thoroughly by this display. Say, it's not necessary.
But you will discover for yourself, should you walk in there. After all, I could not bring you this, little man if I hadn't dealt with his guards. Correct? He would not go alone without the sheriff.
Most likely says, yeah. It's true. One of them ran some time ago.
Yes, but I don't think he'll be much of a problem for all of you. Especially now that you can have the keep with the well.
I'm kind of dumbfounded, really. Who are you?
I am Brienne, Caladan, of House Caladan. It is to the north, in the Reach, a bit beyond the mountains.
A few whispers and such go out among them. A few people make the seven-pointed star sigil on their chest. I see. A noble lady, then?
That would be correct, at least as far as court is concerned.
We don't want any trouble here. We thank you for
Go ahead.
just dealing with this one, but we don't have anything to give you.
That is all right. In time, my family does possess a claim over the ruins, and we might look to rebuild the keep to better protect this area. This would inhibit little tyrants like this old man from doing what he did to all of you again.
Someone in the crowd begins to cry, and they look to Marie, and then sort of an elderly man sort of walks over to her and reaches out his hand to her.
Okay. Bree will not break it.
All right. Unknowingly of what he evaded. Just sort of instead, she doesn't take his hand, sort of a bow to her.
Bree will offer to take his hand.
We're thankful, milady. If there's anything we could offer you.
Just for now, your peace and prosperity. As I noted, in time we may look, my family, House Caladan, to rebuild this area to protect it from bandits and other little troublemakers. But you all seem to have a nice community out here, and there is nothing from you that I would require other than your success and happiness, such as it may be here.
It seems that finally it was not the father who heard our prayers, but the maid. Looking to the others, we shall build a sept.
And Bree will smile and say, "That is good. Honoring the seven is important. You would not want to encourage someone else like this." She scowls down at the old man, the broken, unconscious old man, to come back again.
Well, the other old man's
Yes.
face sort of hardens a bit. She looks
Yes.
and says, "We'll do to him what he has done to many of." He just stops the sentence. Walks away. Thank you.
You are most welcome, people. I do hope that whoever ends up leading your community, it turns out better than him. Should my family return, I don't want to have to cart out someone else here again.
They seem to appreciate the thought, perhaps not really occurring for any of them to act like this man has done, however that was.
Bree will brush off her shoulders and says, "If there is anything else you would like to request of the maid." Bree, like, rolls her eyes in her head and, like, yeah, whatever. My traveling companions and I will be replenishing our water stores before we continue our travels up north.
So, yes, milady. Sort of bow again. Clearly not used to speaking to someone like that, not really knowing the customary way of doing it, but certainly trying. She'll sort of scuff off, and most people will just look at her from a distance, talking to themselves as the men sort of begin to usher them back to work or not to to stand here and make the lady uncomfortable with their staring.
Sure. Bree will look at the people somewhat favorably. She doesn't inherently dislike them. I mean, they are pretty far beneath her. She has no particular grudge. And she'll look down at His Majesty one last time, and she'll walk back to the ruins.
Sure. You other two are, seems like Rosette found some storage, or it's really just sun-dried meat. Seems to be what this man has eaten for a long time. Might explain some of the malnourishment, but it'll probably do for the journey. Beyond that, a young woman comes running up with a sack of what seems to be oats and a piece of what seems to be some sort of hard, pale bread that they offer Nima, and they see her outside the ruins after they quickly retreat back away.
Okay, Nima will accept it and nod and mutter a thanks. A little confused, but thanks.
So go to Bree and say, so what did you find?
Bree says, remarkably, an entire hamlet out here by the ruins. Lovely terraced area, very successful despite everything.
Frown, scowl. Perhaps that will explain how men like this could be in the place. Generally, these keeps are abandoned unless they have outside support.
Yes, I saw many things. I did not expect their community to be so, well, quite honestly, successful. It will make a stronger case in the council room when I inform my family of our family. She gestures, sorry, not used to that. Our family of what's here. I do think this would be a valuable resource, particularly if there is some metal down there.
It would be difficult to bring anything out of here, however. Since there's no real road. And bringing messages could also be difficult, as no ravens would be trained to find this place. Not yet, anyway.
No, but if there is something my uncle does like, it's long-term plans to find a way to get one over on House Peak. I think this would certainly qualify, and it's also well protected from anyone should they try to attack it.
It certainly would be a place to retreat to if House Peak was to invade Respite.
Bree scratches her head. I'd like not to think of retreating here.
Said nod. This is not quite the prosperous life I imagine my brother thought I would have.
No, it is.
Nima hearing that.
I imagine
Nima hearing that smiles. You don't like my keep?
So you would want to stay out here?
No.
Bree looks up at Nima and says, well, maybe we could forge some line of nobility for you. I don't really know whether a Bravosi noble would be all right.
No.
Could find someone for you to marry, perhaps.
I can't.
That should work. Marrying someone noble and then offering the place to him.
And then the children could then carry on the line and hold this keep. A banner house.
That is generally what it's done. If we consider this part of Dorne as well, though I think it would be Stormlands technically.
Bree, you know as much as I that I cannot give any children.
Well, you could always be the... Bree frowns and taps
the what? The what?
I don't know.
No, I don't know either. Besides, people in my line of work is not good to be known.
Well, work changes.
No.
Just around here, I imagine it would be carrying water to the locals, for example.
Anyway, I got some food from some girl.
Oh, how nice.
But no, I have nothing to offer a woman. You know that, Neem.
Yes, well... Just wanted to try to think of a way for you to keep this.
I'm sure the men back home will discuss it.
I'm
worried sick, I'm sure.
I'm bound to your family, Bree. You know that.
Oh, I didn't say that you weren't. Merely that, I like the idea of... what kind of title would we give you? Bree, taps her chin in thought. suppose that could be something we discussed
Thorn,
on the way
it would
back.
simply be a lady.
But calling
I
her a
don't-
lady when she looks and pretty much pointing at like her current masculine outfit, you could see the problem in that, Rosette.
She nods. I suppose it would be whatever you would want then.
Lady Rosette, I have what many men would say too much and what ladies would say too little. So, no. Besides, Ryan is not really a name, I think, that nobles would turn their heads towards. Anyway, let's go home.
She just stops talking. Says, "Oh, all right.
How about Lord Lady? Lady. Let's think of something
Almost
better.
sounds like my dear husband's name." Don't tell him I said that. She'll say,
Laney.
and gives you a smile. And says,
Lady Nima.
"We'll be on the road then, I suppose."
Yes, Rosette. Bree will smile back at her. I think we will. And thank you for, for being an effective guide, really.
Says,
Could not
"Grins."
have found this place even in an entire moon without you.
So, what is going to happen to this place? What's the plan?
Well, you'll have a whole of 2 weeks to discuss that. As,
2 weeks!
you begin moving back. Yeah. Or by a half moon. Yeah.
Yes. Bree will basically say, "Oh, I don't know, Nima. That's something for..." And she looks over at Rosette. As Rosette said, the men to decide.
And then we cut to the men. Sitting there sweating with
The
stewardship.
manly men.
Ugh, I hate this. The worst. Lady Nelly being very courteous. It's just they're out there trudging through taverns and be like setting up people and considering things and frowning at their neighbors. However, before the next month is done, these the girls will be back.
We're home. We lost all
Dusty
horses, though.
and perhaps still covered a bit with dried
most certainly
blood.
dusty and sweaty and yeah.
Makes you feel alive.
Rosetta certainly at the end said that she would prefer soon to have a bath. She does not enjoy the travel stench that sort of falls over her after too long.
Bree understands. Bree agrees.
The sort of grime and unpleasantness. Generally, her moves were so that you could find like water holes to bathe in out
You know
there in
what?
caves.
It reminds me of my young days.
Francis, I thought Bravos was full of
You
water.
are young.
That was my understanding too.
No,
how
being
did your young
sweaty.
days get?
Oh.
Don't you get like that every day?
No, there's not enough much stuff to do here. Back in the days, I worked every day.
Like, I'm
In-
sure we can find something.
I mean,
My
if
only-
you're bored, Nima,
No, it just reminds me of my young days.
I'm sure I could tell Uncle that your services are being wasted here, and he'll try to think of something better for you.
Is there someone you want me to kill? Is that what you're hinting at?
That is definitely not what I said, but there are many people I want to
That's
kill.
my line of work, Bree. You know that.
You're a dance instructor now.
Lucas will grab Lanus's arm and jerk it, making him perhaps be struck by Alaric, or straight with, as he says, "Look, they're back."
He will, like, in a daze, kind of hand to the head, kind of stumble back for a second, look over, and then quite a large smile on his face, even towards Bree.
His hair is like tangled and just, yeah. She manages to look pretty generally, even if it is like a hot sell at this point because of just travel. Well, they all seem, I imagine, very tired and very sunburned as well.
That's why you wear a headgear.
Traveled here.
By the way, Bree,
Step off of Lanus's horse, who certainly also seems quite tired.
No one likes water dancing here in this
She will meet
place.
him and sort of do a tired curtsy.
Will
I
respond
have
with-
returned home, husband.
Welcome back, dear. Same to you. Same to you, Bree and Neva.
I'm
But
sure
does-
the others have much to say, but I will not take too much of your time for now. She said, I am dying for submerging myself in hot water.
Go up to our room and get ready. Lucas, make her a bath.
Nima frowns and looks
This
at
will
Lanus.
dart off.
Nima frowns and looks at Lanus. You could at least have kissed her.
I can handle that business later.
Do you even look at her during?
Ah, yeah.
Bree looks over at Nima.
What did you just say?
Handle business.
Screech!
Ah, yeah.
Excuse me?
What?
Yeah.
I've had many relationships. Lanus has only had. For what I.
That is no
One-
way to speak to the future lord of the house.
I'm from Bervosi. I don't
That's
know.
why I'm telling you this instead of punishing you, Bree says with a smile.
You would have been flogged for that.
Yeah, a guard would generally have been fired, have his family driven from the land. You know,
His
So
whole
does that
family.
mean I can't get an
driven away.
answer?
I think that basically means shut the fuck up. Sit down, be quiet.
Bree
I was
looks
going-
down at
And
Lanus
it's
and
going-
says, "Good day, Lanny."
Yes, good.
Extricate Bree.
As Lannis will take his horse back to the stables and is going to ignore you.
Wow. You don't look at her during, do you?
Bree is going to
the guards
follow,
look
delivering
at
her.
the-
Shout that
Simon
in
looks
the
down from the
courtyard.
parapets.
If you do shout that in the courtyard, we might need to throw you into the stockades.
I didn't yell it just enough so he can hear it. Nima just smiles, goes, I need a bath.
We do have a dungeon just for you.
Sadly, the guards only get to bath down in the small sort of castle town where they get to pay at the washing house to
Oh, damn it.
the tub.
Well, we have rain barrels, I guess.
Is Uncle here, Lanny?
Yes, he's either up in his office or the council room, I believe.
All right. I would probably expect that there's going to be a council meeting. I'm gonna go speak with him.
Very well. I can sort out Heinrich for you.
Oh, all right. Bree says, "No." She's about to say something like, "Normally we have servants do these things, but let me go see Uncle. I never thought I'd willingly speak with him, but here I am."
He turns his head and gives a very amused look at Bree going up to see her uncle.
Oh God, this is terrible.
Currently having maps of like,
Mhm.
and let's say that Desmond has sort of had a few days to mull over the information he has received, and perhaps had the snarky answer from his Lord of Ashford
Mhm.
as to the ineptitude of his own administration at dealing with the problem at hand.
That he shouldn't be so cruel against his own people, really. He will write back. Yes, these sniping letters are actually quite delightful for this in a way. Just these delightful little barbs.
He seems
I'm-
to have gained a slight bit of a rival, though it's not really. Yeah, it has been a few days of the trading, one every other day or so,
Mhm.
of them sort of trying to cleverly insult one another, and it seems that he is not willing to let you have the last word.
Oh well, I will make skill rolls to write such wonderful insults.
Sure.
You couch them
Don't
within
go
like
ahead.
subtle text.
I guess it's,
Wonderfully crafted and ingenious and like carefully camouflaged.
Well,
so
that sounds like a language test.
I guess I was gonna do an insight, but but sure.
I think language is writing things generally.
Your mastery of the
Making it
language to be
making
able to
it
craft
work
these things.
over text. you know, without using smiley faces, because that ruined it.
Smiley face. Wink.
Like, just like stick out like a tongue.
I guess that's how we do it. Passive aggressive smiley face.
Hashtag.
Desmond would be able to like draw.
Hashtag Ashford incompetence.
That is pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good, actually. He beats DZ. Yeah, you probably insult him more than he does you, although he tries hardly.
It's cute to see them try.
Just look
Yeah,
like Lord Ashford saying.
It seems that in the end he says that he has no more time to deal with your pettiness. He has more important things to see to than
The last letter says
exchange.
says like oh yeah, and then that's the last letter. Like, yeah.
Well, you're stupid.
I will not entertain any more of your time-wasting tactic.
Yeah, he has all the damage that your attitude has caused, and he has to deal with it. Have to go now.
Desmond is actually quite happy with this. He is
Himself pettily enjoying
petty
his of a neighbor.
Yep.
Yeah. Nalia does not see the fun in it. I suppose Desmond then takes it to his own room and just chuckles.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna save these letters. Keep them in a folder for him. So
I suppose this is at the end of this is when Bree comes back home. Desmond perhaps forgot the whole affair for a little bit. They've been away for like a moon and a half. It's a very long time. Maybe they won't come back.
You know, maybe they won't. I guess we'll see. He has confidence. Bree has survived out there before. So he's pretty sure that she will come back at least.
He's seen her kill men.
With more money.
Yeah, found 1,200 gold dragons. It's like, I could kiss you.
You hear like the sound of a.
Well, Denise is back.
Let's see what he brings this time.
Bree, without knocking, like opens like the door, like peeks out. Uncle, you in here?
You'll hear the incessant like scratching of a quill, you know, as he writes different things in different parts. He says, yes, I am.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. Is he completely like dust covered, like sweat stained, like probably some dried blood too, like grease from like mutton or whatever else? As like Bree, the rugged and leathery, mildly sunburned, like steps into the council room. Oh, good day, Nalia.
Puts down the quill, looks at her, frowns, and says, "Oh."
She looks at Bree, probably aghast at Bree's like dusty travel worn appearance.
She definitely does look exhausted.
Desmond would look to Nalia. Lady Nalia, would you be so kind to tell some of the servants to make ready a bath for my dear niece?
Once, my lord. She sort of goes,
steps out of the way.
Look to Bree with sort of worried eyes. She out of the room too.
Bree smiles and closes the door and gives her uncle a tired look.
So I take the travel was eventful then.
She slumps over against like the side and says, "A whole moon and a half. Rosetta did her best, but it took some time to find the locale. There's little in the way of pathways all the way to Deepwell Keep. But now that we've been there and back, we could, I suppose, find it again in a half moon. Not the worst looking place, Uncle."
He grunts, looking up and down. So what was actually out there?
The keep, understandably, is ruined, but it does live up to its name. At the heart of it, there is a still functional well, which does continue to have access to water. There is also some metal there, perhaps of worth. I'm not particularly informed on ores, and neither was Neiman. She was the first person to start it. Spotted it had a golden sheen to it, Uncle.
He seems to think, well, that is certainly very interesting.
There's also an entire community that has sprung up around the ruins. A real hamlet by the looks of things. They have been moderately successful. Perhaps not as, well, not really successful compared to any place here, but given their location in the desert mountains, the irrigation and the terraced farms there, the herding that they did with goats, was rather remarkable, I must say.
Well, that is some achievement out there, I suppose.
That's what I thought, Uncle. There were a few. There was one particular little old man tyrant who thought himself, well, at first lord and then king, and tried to have his way in various fashions with us, but managed to isolate him and the few individuals he thought of as guards. We killed them, and I chucked His Majesty to the people to resolve.
You see, Decim, tempts him for a second, and then he sort of, seemingly tired, sort of leans against one of the armrests of the chair and looks, sort of turns around more and looks at Bree and says, "Bree, your adventures will one day kill you, I fear." Looking sort of up and down. Isolated him and took care of him, huh? With your bare hands, I'm guessing.
Yes, as a matter of fact, he had a few archers with him. Rosette and I dispatched them. Nima took care of the largest brute. He was a man by the sheriff, perhaps a deserter of some kind, with a breastplate and halberd. The old man knocked him unconscious, carted him out to the hamlet, let them resolve. Quite frankly, Uncle, She shrugs. It's the life I know.
He nods slowly and says, "I know, Bree, I know. I do not argue with your results. I am just concerned with the risks."
We must all take risks in support of our house. These are certainly tenuous situations, despite our rather lovely success against House Will.
I agree as well. It is an old man's prerogative to worry about. Sort of looks at her, trails off a little.
Bree scratches it. I won't begrudge you that. I merely thought, however, that you should have this information before whatever council you might call. The place down there does seem of value. With the notice, Rosette and I thought of the idea of giving it to someone as a reward, although it does technically seem like more of a punishment place. But, it would be long-term and take a great deal of effort, but if the metal there were of any value, then it could pay for itself, and the little hamlet community there did seem most grateful towards me for rescuing them from their tyranny, and so if someone of House Caladan could stay there to continue to oversee them, they might eventually pay for themselves. Worst case, as Rosette noted, it would be a place so far isolated from House Peak that they couldn't touch us.
There's some grunts. I see. Well done, Bree. Well done. I am very happy that you undertook this expedition. The results in this case speak for themselves, I think, and that is what matters, after all. He sighs slightly. If there is valuable metal in there, is certainly something the house would want. We would need to try to figure out exactly how much resources we would need to pour into this place to make it useful for us.
I'm not sure, Uncle. Judging by just the mere pathways and the fact that it is out there in the mountains, I think it would be a long-term investment. I don't know enough about ore to describe it to you or say whether it would be of value, but it did look golden.
I don't suppose you hacked a piece off and took it with you as a sample.
Bree blinks. Nima was the only one who had arms that length to reach it. I don't know whether she actually did any mining. His Majesty wanted her to mine it for him.
Well, I guess I will ask Nima if she did.
Yes. If there are no more questions right now, Uncle, I'm going to immerse myself in water and then lay down and sleep.
You do that, Bree. You do that.
Bree goes to do that.
And funny you should ask about what exactly would be required to claim this territory. Well,
I have a list.
As it turns out, this territory is currently unclaimed, and you have certainly dealt with the people who would have said that they owned it in some way. No lord currently holds claim on it because, well, it's an empty spot in the middle of a desert mountain. Who even cares about that? If you can develop it or show that it's worth something, maybe then they will care. But at that point, it's probably too late. This would be the sort of outpost that is generally given to someone else to deal with because you don't want to. The problem with controlling, basically, the suggestion here would be to make this location of perhaps a developed banner house. Ruling it sort of primarily yourself is certainly possible, but the travel time and the general time it would take for orders to do anything makes such an option generally discouraged. Most houses stick to a single keep for that very reason. It's more effective in the long run, and if you can keep your banner house, put someone you can trust in possession of it, then, well, so much the better. The location is certainly very defensible in the middle of the mountains, with no water in sight, basically unreachable by larger armies, although one could be ferried there. To claim it as such, you would either have to yourself send a contingent of troops there to basically hold the location against whatever bandits might try to take it otherwise, or deliver it to someone with a banner house who would have a contingency of soldiers to go there and hold it.
We would need 20 power, I think, to invest in the first banner house. Would that effectively cover
if you
the
have
banner
20
house's
power,
contingent?
that would basically cover the establishing of it. That
Okay.
power would be the investment they would get in their house, so to speak, with whatever else they might be able to scrape together themselves.
20 power, holy moly.
They could use
Yeah.
to begin
Okay.
building up things. It is perhaps a long-term goal. Yeah.
But it's there. It looks cool. It does.
Yes.
Look at that place.
And I mean, the investment could eventually, give some land to Lord, our friendly Lord Sir Ryman here, who is looking to prove himself and is still grateful. Because it's a long-term goal, we won't immediately consign him to the punishment keep.
Go there now and suck it.
That's what happens when you bow my knees.
Oh, pretty terrible place. Well, he certainly has promised some money as well. Eventually, when
Yes.
his
That
daughters
is
are-
true.
when the family goes to Bravos,
Yay!
claim the money. He has a whole point of wealth waiting for him, I believe. So that's a start for that sort of thing. And if offered, he probably would help support that sort of notion himself as well. Lordship is a pretty big deal, as it turns out.
I mean, having a banner house is a pretty big deal.
It is, yes.
That's pretty cool.
Of people of significant banner houses in the marshes, well, Lord Karen is the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically gives you extra votes, and it's pretty great.
Mhm.
Aspeak would love to have one, but you haven't been that amiable to them.
No.
And you would have
No,
someone, a banner house would generally deliver at least a regiment of troops to you if you were to call upon them. Generally, the idea of a banner house is that each banner house will aim to deliver the amount of power they're worth to you. Basically, if you have two, they will deliver less because they feel less pressure from their overlord. Single banner house will attempt to deliver 20 power, which generally mean all they have, because generally they don't have that much or wealth to supply that amount.
Yeah, it is certainly an enticing prospect. I would love to have a banner house. Definitely.
As a player, as would I.
It would be very prestigious.
Quite the long-term goal. It would take some significant game time to muster up that power to invest in it.
Yeah, we would need to.
We have something to work towards.
We would need to invest a whole lot of power. We would actually be if we add 20 power to what we have, we would be suddenly a significant military force. People would be like, "What happened to Caladan?"
If you consider the possibility of having a place that cannot be attacked with siege engines or cavalry,
Fuck you.
and has a ruin and a hamlet, it is perhaps a more defensible location than your castle at that point.
Well, let's move.
Well, not yet.
Let's just
go live
wait.
there.
Yeah.
Let's live there.
Respite will be the better house location. All the fertile fields. And we will live in the fucking desert mountains.
Yeah, we'll live in the desolate area.
And you'd want to give the place to someone trusted too, because God forbid you like make this super defensible location and then be like, actually, I think we'll keep this one. And,
Which is why the our noble knight dude might be a good choice because he's certainly
Simon?
loyal.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's from the Eyrie. known
Yeah,
for their
highest
honor.
honor.
He likes his mountains, right?
He likes his honor.
Feels like home, don't you know?
It's just a bit drier.
His home is on a mountainous coast that is always full of storms. So it's not a great place to live. But,
You know, he's
This place is
continued to
mountainous and
get
dry.
more than he has any reason to expect. And, a challenge for him to, he said he'd prove his worth to Decim. There we go.
Did swear it, even. Kneeling down with his sword in front of him.
You
Well,
could
you-
have crushed his dreams.
I could have.
You did
I was so...
basically ruin his mind with your brain.
Yes,
Let's-
yes.
Let's
Decim
not think
ruins
about
minds
that.
and brains.
History will
the
not
truth.
It's like, you boned my knees, didn't you? Don't bother to deny it.
What?
You didn't. Don't deny it. I know. I
Lord
saw
Abram,
you.
after that little meeting, we'll look out at his door and call for Decim
Oh.
to attend him. His back is aching once more, and he needs his brother's aid to calm down.
Yes, hello, brother.
Sit, basically speak of when he remembered his children playing in the stream.
Do you remember when we used to dance? Back in Highgarden.
No.
No. Well.
Just flat out, nope. Don't remember that.
Nope. I remember this when my kids were playing.
He has taken a lot of your time.
Yeah.
He's your brother, but it is really annoying.
Yeah. He's my brother, and I do love him, but
Perhaps
Every
we
day
get
you're like,
Maester
"Please,
Cole something
Maester Cole
nice.
back."
send a letter, Maester Cole.
Just
Just
pull
start
the
like
plug.
offering like bribe him with like wealth, like we will send you one wealth. Just fucking come back.
Pull the plug on Gator and get over here.
Lennis, do your next stewardship role.
Woohoo.
Sure, I can do my next stewardship role.
Steward this ship.
Yeah, steward it. The harvest is coming in.
Let's see. That, and that.
Let's see. The 18 would be a blessing, and I have a button for that.
Blessing.
I think,
Minor uplift. Turn events improves the house in some way. Might be useful lines as receiving invitation to participate in a noble tournament. For the Lord, as we're going through many events here, many months at once, it will not really be something that we'll all have to go deal with, like an alliance or an invitation. But
it's like what we do, like sending all the
there
letters and
is there something you would appreciate? Perhaps you begin sending invitations and would like some influence.
What let's see, what page is the boon roll on in the PDF?
the only other good thing that we can get is
22
growth.
is these things, but
We can only get growth is our only good option out of like other good option.
Growth?
Yeah.
Growth is not as good.
It's not as good, no, it's just
Oh.
1 point.
Blessing.
So blessing.
they're good for the house.
So something that we could do, even though wealth is our, the thing that we get the most bonuses on, is perhaps start to look towards increasing power.
We have a lot of power now.
I still
like
I still want to get to the Lornmen. Stamping them out like I can see because so this would be my like argument for that then is that Decim is spending a lot of time doing this. The tournament is coming up, so Alaric has been like, maybe we should like bribe them to get them away, and he's like, I'm not gonna give them. The only thing I'm gonna give them is blood and steel.
And that was just me as
And
a player, not.
and Decim is like determined not to get that happen. So he would put a lot of effort, as much effort as he can, to try to track them and like find them. Like the current law increase, as I would see it, then would be like incremental steps to stepping up security, and then maybe like starting to actually find out their hidey holes, so we can like actually strike at them with proper like attack force and start killing them for real.
Yeah, if we can somehow get the law up high enough that the lawman will think twice about attacking our future guests, I'm more than
Getting
happy.
the law up basically resembles fighting them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we can just hammer them down until we feel confident that they won't attack our future guests that are arriving, would probably be what I would say.
I have no problem with that. Doing it for law. We don't have any particular bonus to it. 1 to 3.
I mean, law could be fitting, and maybe with the favor from the people as well, more people willing to give in and say.
Sure, roll a d3. That's the easiest way to determine that. How much of an aid?
Maximum law.
You're doing well in these things. Yeah.
And this is a shoot.
Well, turns out that the more of the informers have been captured, and it actually reaches your ear that one of the lawman leaders seems to think that it's got too hot here and has left for greener pastures.
Any of the known ones?
It would be a certain knight who seems to think that perhaps this they don't need the defense of his honor anymore.
Well, that's good, because he was, in my opinion, the most competent of them.